Your revenge is gonna shock them unexpectedly. Yes, sir. Let me say it louder. For my chosen ones in the back. Listen, family, your revenge is gonna shock them unexpectedly. I need somebody to drop in the comments and say righteous revenge. Yes, sir. Make sure you drop in the comments, family, and say righteous revenge. Now, most times, y'all, oftentimes, when we think of revenge, we think of a person getting hit by a bus. We think of a person getting knocked out. We think of a person being sickly, harmed, okay, cussing somebody out. However, you got to get it to make them feel the same pain they imputed onto you. Let's just all be honest, y'all. That's the real. However, it's about getting righteous revenge. And oftentimes, y'all, it may not feel like they're getting it back or karma is revisiting their address, but it is. You have to become successful, improve yourself, become better than you was than whenever they left you, right? Oftentimes, y'all, people turn their backs on us at our lowest, or maybe they seen us be at, the mountaintop and watched you hit rock bottom. And that was the time they waited to do what they always wanted to do, which was walk away from you. But sometimes people don't want to walk away, or they don't feel comfortable leaving your side until they know all the benefits are gone. Some people are greedy like that, right? Some people are just greedy like that. But sticking to the point, y'all, your revenge is going to shock them unexpectedly because, yes, they are expecting for you to cuss them out. They are expecting for you to knock them out. They are expecting for you to be vile, heinous, malicious, vindictive, everything under the sun. But when you decide to take the high road, yes, sir. When you decide to become better, yes, sir. When you decide to not feed them what they fed you, it's going to shock them unexpectedly. Now, again, y'all, the average person want to give somebody else what they gave them. In other words, they want to give the same person hell who gave them hell. And I say that very passionately, all right, because it's a human emotion. But it takes for you to operate within the spiritual in order to have compassion for the weak, all right? It takes for you to be able to have a certain level of maturity to have compassion for the weak. Because those who acted and kicked you when you was down and, did all these heinous things when you was at your lowest, they didn't have compassion for the weak, which made them weak. Only the strong, once again, y'all, can have compassion for the weak. And this is just straight up facts, y'all. But we're going to go ahead and get directly into this video, okay? Righteous revenge, family. Righteous revenge. As y'all can see, we are right here in front of the legendary Great Couch in the famous living room, y'all. And listen, family, every time I am in front of the legendary Great Couch, something legendary going to be said, and that's just how that go. All right, I'm sending nothing but love, peace, and prosperity to the family. And of course, y'all, I hope y'all are having a delightful day because your boy is having a marvelous one. All right, we're going to go ahead and get directly into it, family. Y'all make sure y'all leave a thumbs up on this video as well as subscribe to the channel. Yes, sir. Not only that, y'all, but y'all be sure to ring my bell so you can be notified after every single video I post. And y'all just seen my voice almost went out, y'all, but we still going to keep it going. But anyway, y'all. Number one, it's going to be this right here. Boss up, all right? Boss up. Now, for those who are looking and seeking for more clarity, okay, when I say boss up, this is a form and a way of being able to get revenge. This is what's going to shock them. They're not looking for you to boss up. They're not looking for you to increase your financial status. They're not looking for you to increase your reputation or even clean up your reputation. They're not looking for you to change and switch your occupation. Maybe you got a higher paying job, a high ranking position, right? Or a job or occupation that's much more important than, your old job when you was with them, right? Or when you was friends or connected with them. Whatever the case is, you've increased and bettered your dress code. Let's just talk about all of it, y'all. Whenever you boss up, you have went from Indian to chief. Yeah, you have went from zero to hero, which means you are now on a whole nother level, right? You ever seen a person with a pair of shoes and the shoes was, not as good looking? Maybe they were dirty. The shoestrings was dirty, right? Probably had little rips and tears on them. And they gave them same shoes away to somebody else. That somebody else cleaned the shoes up, right? They changed the shoestrings. They patched up the little patches. They painted, spray painted, whatever they did, and they increased the shoes. They bossed the shoes up, right? And the person who gave them away to that somebody, now all of a sudden they want the shoes back because the shoes done bossed up, if you will. If y'all catch my drift, what I'm saying is, y'all, whenever you boss up, that make a person feel it right here. Whenever you boss up, that makes a person envision their life with you where you are currently. Sometimes, y'all, you have to elevate to a new level to get away from that old devil. All right. And listen, y'all, it's going to be difficult doing that because it's almost like you want to take your new prized possessions. You want to take your new version of yourself. You want to take your new profound intelligence. You want to take who you are now on this new level. And it's almost like you want to give it right back to them for multiple reasons. Sometimes, y'all, it's because you don't feel comfortable moving on. Sometimes you want to get revenge. Sometimes you want a person to experience the new version of yourself because you're trying to prove something to them. But in actuality, the best thing for you to do is to allow them to watch you through the screen like a television. Yep, let them watch you from afar like a television. Absolutely, y'all. And the reason why you got to do this is because they will never learn their lesson. Right? Boss up in peace. Somebody drop that down below in the comments. Boss up in peace. Number 2, y'all, it's going to be this right here, family. Reinvention. Okay? Reinvention is another way that your revenge will shock them unexpectedly because they're not looking for you to become anything else other than what you were. All right? When I think of 50 Cent, right? He started off with, dropping music that was dissing everybody. Then he hooked up with Dr. Dre, Eminem, started dropping hits after hits, right? We all know that one of his biggest hits, Go Shorty, It's Your Birthday. We all know it, okay? He had that song, and then he started dropping more. Mini Man, dropping more. Window Shopper, Candy Shop. I mean, all these different songs, right? You would think that he will only be recognized and noticed as an artist. You would think that. But he began to reinvent himself. Now we got shoes, G-Unit shoes, right? Now we have merchandise and we're doing shows. And not only are we doing shows, but now, you know what? Let me just be a CEO of my own record label. You know what? Now I got my G-Unit record label. You see how he's reinventing himself. And mind you, a lot of record labels passed up on 50 Cent. They passed up on him because they didn't like the image he was portraying, which I get. They didn't like, his style of music. So he just kind of barged his way into the game. And once he barged his way into the game, he continuously reinventing himself. And I'm sure that was enough revenge on all those record labels and other executives, for him to be like, yeah, you see me. And I ain't even have to put my hands on you, right? That's another form of reinventing yourself. Then if you think about the TV shows he have now, right? Power, he had BMF, right? I mean, he's even doing another new show that's called, I think it's called 50 Ways to Get Away from the Police or 50 Ways to Do Something, y'all. I'm all off right now. But it's a new show. The point is, y'all, is that he has reinvented himself multiple times, all right? That is another way of getting revenge on a person. Jay-Z reinvented himself, came in, Reasonable Doubt. Now I'm a executive and the CEO within the NFL. You see how that works, y'all? When you reinvent yourself, that's enough revenge on a person anyway. They were not expecting for you to up yourself, change yourself, dress code, right? The way you speak, the way you articulate, the way you navigate, they was not expecting that. Reinvention is powerful. Somebody drop that down below in the comments. Reinvention is powerful. And my last example, I would say this. NFL players. Think about people who are in the NFL, okay? And they came in as a football player or even NBA players. They came in as just a ball player, right? Well, As time progresses, those who understand the power in reinventing themselves, guess what? They're gonna have new ventures, new businesses, new things that they can put their hands in, so they're not solely dependent on basketball. That's all I'm saying, y'all, or football. That's all I'm saying. That's the power of reinvention. And that in itself is enough revenge on any executive, CEO, boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-husband, ex-wife, friends, ex-friends, whatever. That's enough revenge because you have now stepped into another level. Reinvention is powerful. Number 3, y'all, it's going to be this right here. Distance. Distance. Anytime you distance yourself, y'all, you are pretty much putting yourself above them, right? You're not saying that I'm better than you, okay, but you're saying that I'm better than who I used to be. Distance. So, y'all, whenever I left from my hometown, Douglas, Georgia, I always talk about it, right? But for those who are new to the channel, I'm from Douglas, Georgia, y'all. Okay, a small town close by Valdosta, Tifton, Florida, right? That's where I'm from, a country boy. But when I moved from Douglas, Georgia, and came to Atlanta, right, there was a lot of distance, right? It was distance in between my girlfriend. It was distance between, well, my then girlfriend, by the way. It was distance between my family, distance between my friends, just distance between everything I had grew to know and love, right? What happens is, y'all, is that many people are used to the old you, right? Many people are used to what you used to do. Many people are used to how you used to drink, how you used to smoke. I began to see the people who were once my best friends begin to dislike me because I implemented that distance. I began to see the girl I was in a relationship with to grow apart from me because I was, we were growing apart from each other, but I was implementing that distance. And see, the reason why there was distance in the beginning was because I had to, come here to school. But then it began to be like you know what? I'm going to use this as a form of revenge from those who betrayed me and for those who was acting fake and for those who just wasn't really my friend. Okay. I began to implement distance, and that was the best revenge for me because at once upon a time, people had access to me. Right? But I began to deny the access. I had to. And distance is the best. People can't call you like that. People can't text you like that. People are not able to just pull up to your house. Right? I'm from a small town, so people can just pull up on you. You can just be in the back cooking some tacos, and next thing you know, your homeboy from elementary done pulled up at your crib, right? The case in point, y'all, is that I implemented distance, y'all, from those who were accustomed to being around me. And that was the best revenge for me. Just not being around people, not allowing people access to me, not allowing people to just be in my space like that, because I began to value my presence. I began to value my being, my existence. And I realized that, listen, if I'm not going to be, I don't subscribe to this, but I'm going to say it like this. If I'm not going to be appreciated, then I'm definitely not going to be in a space to where I'm tolerated. I know a lot of people say, if you're not celebrated, go to where you're celebrated and not tolerated. I understand that, but I don't necessarily have to be celebrated like I'm a celebrity. I'm cool. I just want to be appreciated. I go to where I'm appreciated and not tolerated. And that is kind of, where I implemented that distance, because that was a part of me saying, hey, I'm going to just get revenge in this way. I ain't going to get back at you. I ain't going to go back and forth on social media. I ain't going to do none of that, right? Number 4, y'all, it's going to be this right here. Healing. Healing, y'all. This is when you get closer to God. This is when you get your spirit right. Maybe therapy, counseling. This is when you start getting yourself together. You start getting yourself situated. That's the best way of getting revenge, by healing. How many people, male or female, do you know who sit up all day and all night talking about their ex, talking about their ex best friends, talking about mom, dad, talking about family members? They talk about everybody, right? Talk about everybody who wronged them. Guess what? They may not even be wrong. somebody I'm sure have wronged them, right? Maybe they have wronged somebody else. The problem is, y'all, is that you're not healing if you keep spending time talking about what they did to you. Now you need to talk about what you're going to do about what they did to you. Make sense of what I'm saying? If this is getting close to God, this is what you got to do. If this is going to therapy and counseling, this is what you got to do. If this is just finding a hobby to keep yourself busy and to keep your mind off those who done you wrong, that's what you got to do. Healing is everything. Somebody drop that down below in the comments. Healing is everything. And that's why I'm big on healing, right? This is another way of getting revenge. When people see that you still stuck on them, you still hurt, you still got a bone to pick with them, this is when they're going to laugh at you. This is when they're going to talk about you. This is when they're going to make you out to be something that you're not. See, look at him. He's still all on me, girl. Whole time she done did the worst. Man, I told you she's still on me, man. She ain't even got over me yet. Whole time he done did the worst, right? You got to heal. That's how a person is really going to feel that revenge that you're trying to implement onto them. Make sense of what I'm saying, y'all? Right? If you look at the internet, look at how when certain people do wrong or when certain people be wronged, right? If they're still talking about what happened, at first, if you're the victim, maybe they're going to give you your 15 minutes of fame. But if you keep talking about it, they're going to keep saying, who hurt you? You hurt, you this, you that. And women say this a lot, by the way, right? But for the most part, y'all, everybody is not, a stranger to it. If you keep talking about what's going on or what happened to you, although you are expressing your feelings, they're going to still dog you out about being hurt. All right. They did it to me when I dropped my book, Fairly Unequal. Family members, people who knew what I've been through. You hurt, right? Focus on healing. You could talk about it in your own free time, but don't let people publicly know. Make sense of what I'm saying, y'all? Drop in the comments and let me know. It's all about healing. Number 5 is move on. You got to move on, y'all. This right here is very important. When you move on, that revenge sting in, y'all. Oh, yeah. When you move on, that revenge sting. That's because they're so used to having access to you. That's because they're so used to you still calling their phone, beating up their line. That's because they're so used to you being very accessible. That's why. Whenever you move on from a person, y'all, it shows them a new light. It shows them a new perspective of you. Okay? I'll never forget, y'all. I had this homeboy at the time, and he had this girl who was always on him, right? Like, he can cheat, he can do whatever. Sometimes women can, and this can happen for men too, but I've seen it more often with women. Sometimes women, when they fall in love with a man, he got so many times to keep messing up. Like, he has more times than the average man, right, who's with another woman to mess up because she's in love with him, right? And so he would mess up so many times, and she would still take him back. But it was that last time, and it had been over years. At this point, they got kids together and all that. But that last time, she didn't take him back. It messed him up mentally. He wasn't in the psycho house, but it messed him up mentally because he was so used to her dealing with his BS and taking him back consistently. He didn't know what that looked like, felt like, smelt like. He didn't know, right? But it messed him up when she finally said no. It messed him up when she finally walked away and, moved on with her life. That's the same thing with yourself, y'all. When you move on, it's a little different, right? You ain't going back and forth. You don't have anything to say. That stings more. Moving on. Somebody drop that down below in the comments. Move on, all right? But with that being said, y'all, that's going to conclude this video. Your revenge is going to shock them unexpectedly. Just a quick recap, y'all. Number 1, boss up. Boss up, y'all. Number 2, reinvention. Number 3, distance. Number 4, healing. And number 5, y'all, move on, all right? But with that being said, family, y'all be sure to go over to the Rich Mentality Academy, join the membership, meet your tribe. Y'all be sure to book a one-on-one session with your boy, all right? You can check out any one of my books, and of course, get you a Yes Sir t-shirt. But I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Keep a rich mentality. Peace.